Hey there kind people, it's me Eunbin. Welcome back to my review of Love Next Door. Before I start talking about episode 3 and 4, let's do a recap of what happened in the first two episodes. Our two main characters, Seung-Hyo and Seung-Hyo. Seung-Hyo used to work in a multinational company named GFriend, but after years of experienced racism, being isolated by her colleagues, and getting cheated by her fiancé, she left that company. Now she wants to live a happy life as an unemployed person, but that doesn't sit well with her Asian mom and never will. I have one in my home. She keeps telling me to look for an actual part-time job, and I'm just 19. Wait, I'm 20 now. I'm too old. Anyway, the first two episodes mostly revolve around that. There was some side stories about Seung-Hyo's company not being in such a good place and these two characters, but they were just setting them up for the future. Now let's start the discussion of episodes 3 and 4. As we discussed in my previous video, the first two episodes were about Seung-Hyo. However, episode 3 gives us a glimpse of Seung-Hyo's past. He was a swimmer, he won lots of medals too, but unfortunately because of a car accident, he couldn't continue his career in swimming. Why does this sound so familiar? Thankfully they don't have a Kim Young-soo in their lives. However, as Seung-Hyo couldn't follow his dream, he really treasures other people's dream. He really wants Seung-Hyo to follow her dream rather than take a job that she won't enjoy. Here we also get to know that Seung-Hyo actually cares about him. No doubt that cutscene sequence was really funny, and because of these qualities, Seung-Hyo started to like her. Why is it that boys are always the ones who fall in love? Well, from my personal experience, that's actually accurate. I can't deny that fact. They also built a time capsule that was also in Love the Runner. Although every time I hear time capsule, it reminds me of the anime Orange. It's so good if anyone's wondering. From that time capsule, we get to know Seung-Hyo had feelings for Seung-Hyo for a long time. In that letter, he thought he would ask her out within 10 years. That didn't happen, fortunately. Even if he had told her about his feeling, she might have just said nothing could be done. In that case, I feel it was for the better. Things are also getting spicy in the present, which I really love. Anyway, Seung-Hyo's letter wasn't that important. It was just there to make things funnier. Mom's letter was also supposed to be there, but she already took it a while ago. That's why we don't know what was written, but I guess it will be soon revealed. It might be connected with a bigger plot. She also read other two's letter, and although she said she doesn't remember what was written in Seung-Hyo's letter, but we all know that's a lie. Speaking of Mom, this week we got to see a little bit more of Mom and Dano's chemistry. They like the same lollipop and drinks. They also live next door. Because of them, it's called Love Next Door. And every one of their sequences make you question, is it fate? That reminds me, this serendipity is never going to leave me alone. Within episode 3, they mentioned it 3 times. Anyway, that little kid's character was interesting. She might come back again, and I have a weird yet interesting theory. She might be Dano's daughter. She kept mentioning her father and never mentioned her mother. We also saw her with Mom, and every story of Mom's is connected to Danho. That's why I think that's the case. Anyway, at the end of episode 4, we get to know he was in the same grade as the others. For some reason, he remembers all of them, but they don't remember him. His character is getting more and more interesting. I'm really curious how everything going to unfold. We also got some insight into Seung-Hyo's character. He has high morals. He refused to do some plagiarism work, but he also cared about his teammate. He knew they weren't going to get that work, but still he gave his best. On the other hand, in this sequence we get a glimpse of Seung-Hyo's time in US, how they gaslighted and isolated her. Although there are still a lot we don't know yet. What happened 3 years ago, why she took a 1-year break, we have no idea about that, and I'm kind of confused. Chris was her fiancé, right? How could she like someone like him? However, in the end he got what he truly deserved, and it was damn satisfying. We get a look at the dynamics of two families. Seung-Hyo's family is more connected with each other. Seung-Hyo's father gives love to her mom. They argue a lot, but still they love each other. On the other hand, Seung-Hyo's family doesn't have that connection. For them, work is their first priority. All this time they gave more value to their work, and now their relationship is messed up. They didn't even came to Seung-Hyo's swimming competition. Seung-Hyo's brother Dongjin got a bit of screen time when he tried to flirt with a girl and bragged bitch about his trainer. However, I'm really confused about the reaction of this character. Does he even have any importance in this story? So far it doesn't seem like it. Well, time will tell. Overall for me, these two were decent episodes. I enjoyed first 2 episodes more. Episode 4 seemed funnier, but I was dealing with a lot in my personal life, so maybe that's why I couldn't enjoy it as much. But my friend Shinji liked them a lot, especially episode 3. He kept saying the first 2 episodes were about the girl, and in the 3rd episode they showed both of their stories and chemistry. Well, that happens. We all have different opinions. You might also have your own, which you can share in the comment. Also, watch this video as YouTube thinks you will like it. I will see you guys in the next week. Until then, have an awesome life.